What's going on, everybody? This is Over the Ropes. I'm Tyler.
What's up? I'm Cortland.
And we got your NXT Roadblock review. What a show, man, huh?
Madison Square Garden, back-to-back nights. You know it was going to be magical. We got 3 championship matches, I believe.
Yep.
We were not short on action or fun in this one.
Breezy show, too. Like, I don't know if it's the note aspect or just the way we watch it now, but, like, a 2-hour show seems drastically different than a 3-hour show.
Man, this was so much shorter than doing a SmackDown.
Flew by. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. A lot less promos, and it was just action. It just kept flowing.
So much action. So I was thinking about this today, and I am shocked because as much of a wrestling person as you are, and I get it, not everybody, my job, I not like a interstate, obviously, but I drive trucks for a living, so I got a lot of, like, downtime. I got a lot of, earpiece in my ear, listening to different things. You said the last show, or 2 shows ago, that you've never listened to a minute of Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and that's shocking. Shocking. Because it is so good.
I listen to Busted Open 24/7. Pretty much. That's what I fit in. I got time for one extracurricular show, and it is Busted Open, baby.
There was a point where I was listening to Something Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff, and then depending on what they were talking about, Shivani or JR's podcast also. But after a while, I was like, all right, I need some of my Boston sports stuff. Too much wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on what I was doing, too, but, like, I can't listen to this type of stuff when I'm working. Sometimes I'll listen while I open, but I can't listen to it during work.
Right.
Sometimes I've had office-y aspects to my job there, but not what I'm doing right now.
Right.
I pretty much have to cram it. I do it before I go to work and, like, on my way to work and maybe when I'm in the shower, but...
Yeah, that's fair. So let's start the show off. We got NXT Roadblock, Madison Square Garden, big stage. And what a way to open the show. The TNA Tag Team Championships. Fraxium versus the Hardys.
Yes, sir.
And boy, big TNA chants. And then immediately afterwards, big NXT chants.
And the Hardys got an awesome pop, which was awesome.
The Hardys had awesome. The crowd was excellent.
Yep.
What a good crowd tonight. Or last night, technically. My first note is how much I miss Corey Graves on the main roster. The fact that he's on NXT is mind-boggling. I cannot wrap my head around it. It's so crazy. He's so damn good. Frankly, Vic Joseph is awesome, too. So
I love Vic, yeah.
I hated Vic when he came up when Paul Heyman was running Raw. I never heard of him. I was like, why they got this 12-year-old here? Get him off my screen. And then he started doing Corey Graves' podcast, WWE podcast with him, and their chemistry is perfect. And that made me really like him. So yeah. But man, what a match, huh? Axiom does the on top rope, does a backflip off out to the ring onto the Hardys.
That moonsault was wild.
Yeah, the moonsault. Nathan Frazier dives out of the ring, and Matt catches him and hits him with the side effect on the floor.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. The Hardys hit Axiom with the blockbuster. That's what it's called, right?
The plot twist.
Plot twist. Why did I say blockbuster? What the hell? Matt
Blockbuster's Buff Bagwell's old move.
Hey. Matt went to hit Axiom with the twist of fate. Axiom ended up pushing him into Jeff, who was on the top. And then Axiom hits Matt with super kick, tags in Frazier. Axiom hits that Spanish fly onto Jeff. And then Frazier hits the Phoenix Splash.
Oh,
what a sequence, man.
yep.
Ooh, I love Axiom. Axiom's great.
Axiom is a ton of fun to watch.
So good. Um, Axiom goes for high low, and Jeff pulls Frazier in front of. Dude, Jeff pulling Frazier in front of Axiom, and he took him the hell out. Oh my god. Hard. Then Matt hits the twist of fate. Jeff hits the swanton. 1, 2, 3. As you would expect, the Hardys retain their TNA Tag Team Championship. This match was just so much fun.
Absolutely electric. I think it's great for a team like Axiom to be able to match up with a team like the Hardy Boys. I mean, they're one of the most legendary tag teams of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah.
And you get a little bit more of that boil, You get Frazier taking out Axiom.
Yeah. You've seen a little bit of the kind of slowly heel turn thing the Hardys are doing. They're talking about every time they get a chance how they're the greatest in the world. They're Hall of Famer. They remind us of us back before we got really good. Shit like that. I love the character work for Matt and Jeff right now. I mean, they've always been spectacular. If you're our age, mid 30s, early 30s, late 20s, you just grew up a Jeff Hardy fan. Even if you weren't a super big wrestling fan, you knew who Jeff Hardy was, and you were.
Jeff was one of my main draws to WWF back in the day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how could you not? We get a little backstage segment with Jada and Mickie James. Mickie James tells her to not wait around, and if she wants something, go and take it. They're mixing up this LFG coaches with the NXT people because Mickie, Taker. They had a internet exclusive with Bubba talking to Fraxium. I like it. I haven't watched any of the show because you have to. No app has A&E on it.
Yeah, so, I don't have it either.
So apparently you can download the A&E app and watch it. So I'm gonna probably end up doing that maybe this weekend. But I heard the show is really good. I've seen clips.
I'm probably gonna wait and binge it when it's almost done.
Yeah.
So I can because I know once I start it, I hate sometimes watching stuff live because I hate waiting. Like, I will wait until it's almost done so I can just binge stuff.
That is probably the biggest thing that I feel like is like not our generation, but like the kind of more modern generation.
Yeah.
That I have also adapted, which is if I'm watching something, I want to binge it. I ain't trying to wait week for week. There's a couple shows I watch weekly on, I have a YouTube TV, and there's a couple shows I watch weekly, but it's very few. Very few. So
once I dive in, I'm trying to go.
Exactly.
After this, we get a segment out back with the D'Angelo family. Basically, so you got Stax, you've got Riz and Luca. Stax takes the blame for Tony losing last week. He says he knew they should have kept him out of the match. He says his temper got the best of him. And Riz and Luca don't know Tony like he does.
Yeah.
Tony walks up, joins the group. He says Stax is the underboss, and he should have known better to let his emotion get the best of him. And showing emotion is a sign of weakness. Stax says the same could be said about the family right now. He said there's no respect, no one fears them. Tony cuts him off. He agrees, and he says they're at their best when they have a plan. And Stax is like, yep, and I'm on it. He said next week it's going to be Stax, Luca, and Riz versus Brooks, Nico, and Izzy. And I couldn't exactly understand what he said. It was along the lines of Tony was like, he was trying to figure out how he fit into all this. And Stax is like, hey, I dropped the ball last week, and with your back and all. Tony cut him off again. Like, the back is fine. But he co-signed on the match. Seems like a little tension in this group now.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on here?
I mean, Stax is going to end up taking Tony's spot at some point, right?
Yep.
Tony will probably go to the main roster, I'm assuming.
Do you think Tony keeps the gimmick, or do you think he switches to something different on the main roster?
I think he keeps the gimmick, but goes away from it. You know what I mean?
Goes up as it, but then moves away?
Yeah, like he comes in, but he doesn't go so hard with like the kind of mobbish, like, you know, and then
Mm-hmm.
slowly moves away into more of who he is. The main roster is less gimmicky and more of yourself, just kind of amped up. So I think he probably starts that way. Kind of same Braun and Carmelo. Like they both kind of started off with their NXT character,
Right.
but slowly morphed it into more of just who they are. You
Mello
know,
don't miss.
Melo misses a lot.
um,
But yeah, I mean, I think Stacks probably takes over for him at some point. I like the way they're going about it. It's not even like Stacks being like, man, like he doesn't deserve this or whatever. Like no, like he feels like he's letting Tony down, and I am assuming at some point it's gonna flip, and he's gonna be like, you know what? No, I'm not letting you down. I've done every damn thing I can to help you, and you're the one that keeps failing.
you and
You
your weak
know?
ass back.
Right. So I liked it. That was a good
Good
little
little mix
segment.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like all of them. Stacks is such a lucky man. That's all I'm saying.
Who was he with? I can't remember.
Santino's daughter, Ariana
Ariana
Grace.
Grace. Yeah, they just got engaged, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
So after this, we get Roxanne versus Jordan
Dude,
Grace.
Jordan's a beast. She's so
Jordan
fucking. Oh
is
my god,
jacked.
jacked and strong and. Oh man.
And she starts this match red hot. Roxanne does take advantage a little way into this match. Jordan went to kind of slide out of the ring. It looked like maybe she was going for like a drop kick out of the ring. Roxanne caught her, and she just starts working on the left leg, and this would be a theme throughout the match.
Yeah.
Um, Jordan does get back on offense at one point, and she kind of springboards from the mat. She tries to go to the middle rope and just misses, and it's like, there's just too much damage done to her legs. They're not working. And Roxanne just continues to work on the leg into and through the break. We come back from the break. Perez comes from the top rope, and Jordan catches her and does kind of the classic John Cena, like roll back, and kind of, she goes to stand up. She can't get up at first, but she works through it. And then this just turns into a series of reversals with these two. Finally, Roxanne hits the Hurricane Rana driver into the mat. Roxanne hits a big frog splash. I don't remember Roxanne doing much off the top rope, but she hit a frog splash like halfway across the ring. Jordan kicks it too. Roxanne immediately transitions this into a crossface, which I loved. A little later in the match, she goes for pop rocks, misses, but she gets the backslide. Jordan kicks out. She gets up. She hits the rolling Death Valley driver and beast mode, and she gets the win.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, maybe they said this last week and I missed it, but Booker said this was the #1 contender match.
He did, but I don't think NXT has said that. I think he just
so Booker just said that. Okay.
Booker's just doing Booker things. Yeah. Ducky, quack, quack.
Booker is wild on commentary.
He is.
I really like the way Roxanne just targeted her knee and her leg.
Yep.
Like, as much as like I give like Daniel Bryan shit and people like that, that's one thing that WWE does kind of miss a little bit. Somebody who really like targets body parts, wrestles in that kind of style. That Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan-esque style. We don't get Dean Malenko.
Bret Hart was the first one I thought of.
Bret
always used to pick a body part.
Yeah. There's some crazy moves Jordan did. I love that she's in NXT now. When we came back from the commercial, Jordan did this weird, like, she was holding on to Roxanne. Roxanne's legs, I think, were up by her head. And her head, like, Roxanne's face was facing away from Jordan. And she threw her, like, completely over her. And I was like, holy shit.
I think they call that an alley-oop.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a nice, unique move.
Yeah. And then she had that crazy ass package power bomb. Oh man,
Ooh,
yeah.
brother, yes.
And the way Perez just bounced every time she got slammed because she's
Yep.
so strong, and excuse me, Roxanne's just so tiny that you know what I'm saying.
So small, yeah. Do you think this is swan song, or do you think we get that one more match?
I think we get one more match. The interesting
I
thing
hope.
is we haven't seen anything with her and Bailey, and we haven't seen anything with her and Cora.
Yeah, I
Since
hope Cora's okay.
I haven't seen anything that says she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we haven't seen anything with Roxanne and Bailey or Roxanne and Cora since the pay per view.
Well,
So
one of them's got to happen at least. We were
yeah,
thinking both, but
yeah. So I don't know.
sorry, we still got a month. We have over a month. Today's the 12th, so we have about 5 weeks.
Right.
18 plus 19 is 37. We have 5 weeks and a few more to get to Mania. So
Right. Yeah. So then we get another one of these. Oba walks past the Undertaker. Undertaker's leaning up against the wall. He tells Oba he's impressed. Tells him to go out there and defend his yard, which is so cool.
yeah,
I like the
big moment.
big moment. And I like the people they're picking. Jada, Oba, Fraxium. You know, it would have been real easy just to throw them like Mickey in there with Roxanne or Julia, Stephanie,
Yeah,
somebody like that. I like that they picked Jada, and I
I think
like
Jada's gonna be a megastar.
Jada's gonna be a megastar at some point. Yeah, yeah, she definitely has a lot more like in ring work to work on, just because you know she's a NIL person, but
Yep.
she's getting there. So. Next, we have the NXT World Championship. Oba Femi defending his title against Moose.
What a big fight field to start
Dude,
this match.
I,
Man, that crowd was electric.
I said it the last NXT show we did, and Moose was on it. He just radiates star.
Yep.
He's so big and like fast and athletic. Like he's not slow and like plodding, you know.
Yep.
The match starts off with him just chopping the shit out of Oba. His
Yep.
chops were violent. Jeez. He was throwing big boots around like they were going out of style.
Yep.
And like pump
Yep.
kicks.
Yep. I did notice that. I noted that. A lot of big boots and pump kicks.
Yeah. I love it. We saw him do this last time, but he does that thing where he runs up each turnbuckle to the top rope, and this time just eats an uppercut on the way down.
Oh, my lord.
Oh,
That was brutal.
brutal. And so good. Like you said, this match had such a big fight feel to it.
Yep.
Oba press slamming him, Moose over the top rope. The
It made it look pretty easy.
pretty easy for Moose being that damn big. Moose hit a pretty good spear. I like Moose's spear. And then Moose runs at Oba, and Oba ends up hitting him with the fall for grace for the win.
Yep.
Great match. Big fight feel. I really enjoyed it. I will say, seeing Oba wrestle Moose really highlights how they don't really have a great world title division.
Yep.
Like, we're going to get Oba and Trick, and then Trick's going to main roster. Who the hell does he wrestle next? Ricky Spears? Or Ricky Saints?
Ricky Saints, Javon Evans.
Ethan Page?
Yeah.
Unless he
I don't know.
goes
I
to the
think
main
Ethan might
roster?
get called up.
Right.
He's going to get called up. I think, excuse me, I think we're going to get an influx of talent here in a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys that come in, at least one of them starts in NXT. Could you imagine like Rusev versus Oba Femi, dude?
I was just going to say, I would do with Rusev what they did with Drew and start him
Yeah.
back in NXT.
I'm cool with that.
Just to kind of get him back, like, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't wrestled in a long time. He's had
a really long time.
He had a lot of injuries in AEW. Hey, come back in NXT. We really need the star power. We're only going to have you there for like a year, 6 months, something like that. Have a feud or two, maybe win the belt, something, drop it back to Oba. But they really need some top tier talent because,
Men's talent.
right,
It's very woman heavy on
yeah,
NXT.
and mid card heavy because, like, I don't know, I love Sean Spears, but
Yep.
anybody gonna take him seriously right now in the world title picture? Hell no.
Not necessarily.
I was pissed.
You're right though.
I was pissed last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago that they had Tony wrestling for the belt at Stand and Deliver?
It must have been last year. There's no way it was 2 years ago.
I thought that was lame as shit.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they need to find some, or just keep taking it from TNA. But at some point, if you're gonna keep doing this, a TNA guy's gonna have to win. So
That is on my notes here to ask you at some point. What belt do you think changes first between the two companies? It could be either company. Oh, did I tell you about our new sponsor, dude? We're sponsored by water.
Hey, the TNA Women's Tag Championship.
Yeah? Masha Slamovich.
No, she's the world champion.
Oh, what title did you say?
Their tag champion, the Women's Tag Championship. Because NXT has some good women's tag teams, and I don't see them having any of them beat in the main roster tag team. Like, is Lash and Jakara beating Liv and Raquel? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? So maybe the NXT or the TNA Women's Tag Champion bounces between the shows, kind of like the Women's Championship does on Raw and SmackDown. I could see that. It's not sexy compared to like a world title, but that to me is the most realistic one.
I think at least one or two of them got to change. I would love to see at least one of the mid-card titles. I think the X and North American Championships should switch hands at some point.
Yeah.
I think a world title might be a little extreme, but it'd be crazy to see a WWE guy with the X Division Championship.
You're right that it would be crazy, but frankly, if both companies were smart and they both like put ego aside, I would consider having a double champ, but kind of like they're doing with the women's, where they're not combining it. You're just holding two titles. I'd put both titles on Joe Hendry.
That would be fucking awesome. Take all my money.
Say his name and he appears.
Yes, please.
Hell yeah.
I would love that, brother.
Love me some Joe Hendry.
Yes, sir. After this, we get a little Instagram clip. It's Zarya and Sol Ruka. So they've been training Sol Ruka's way, but now it's time to train Zarya's way. So they're in one of those like destroy rooms. You know, they got the goggles on and they're just like destroying bottles and stuff. Smashing tires. They go axe throwing, and then they do that Aussie thing. I can't remember what it's called, but they like drink from a shoe.
Drink from the shoe. Yeah,
it's a thing. And it was funny, and so like gags. It was hilarious. And then we get another segment out back. Fatal Influence. They track down Ava. Fallon's she's pissed. She's like, Ava, you can't keep avoiding me. You know, she asks about her women's North American Championship rematch that she wants, better yet, deserves. Ricky Saints walks up on him. He's like, everybody is so angry around here, which was a callback to when he ran into Trick out back.
Yep.
JC says last week, Ridge had the right idea, saying Ricky doesn't belong here. Fatal Influence walks away, and Ricky's like, I don't know how you do this. And he was like, I don't either.
He said, a lot of people keep telling me that. That's the second week in a row somebody said that to me.
And then he says, a lot of people keep telling me that I don't belong here.
Yep.
He says, if Ridge is trying to start a trend, I'm going to nip it in the bud. So he asks for a match against him.
Yep.
And Ava makes it happen for next week. And then Ethan Page walks up. And he says, NXT doesn't like outsiders like you, Saints. I thought everybody knew that. And I'm like, so ironic, Mr. Page.
Yeah.
And That leads to that match.
pot calling the kettle.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I love the chemistry with Soul and Zarya. I know that IWC is like, oh, how are they doing this to Zarya? But I think their chemistry is excellent.
I think they're fun.
And from my understanding, I'm not going to pretend that I've ever heard of Delta before she signed with WWE. But from my understanding, Zarya, when she was Delta, didn't have much of a personality. It was very, I'm just going to...
brick shit house.
Right. So I think this is their way of trying to open her up, get her character. Yep. And I have no problem with that. So
it's a good pairing.
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed because it was this time last year. I remember telling you guys in the group chat. I said Sol Ruka's going to be the champ by now.
Yeah.
And she hasn't won either of the singles titles.
Nope.
But I hope her day comes. I think she's really, really, really exciting.
For all you know, she can win the U.S. title next week.
That'd be pretty sweet, man. Just right over the NXT champs and right to U.S.
That's right.
Yeah, she's a really exciting young talent. Speaking of exciting young talents, that leads us to Javon Evans versus Ethan Page in a street fight. And my first note is, and shout out to Fonz, my boy Fonz. He was all aboard the Javon Evans train before I even knew who he was, and he was sending me TikToks of this guy left and right. For someone so young, he really, really looks like he gets it. His intensity level is insane. His demeanor, like, he looked like someone that was fighting a street match. He doesn't look like any 20-year-old kid who's out there living his dream. He looks like he belongs there.
Yeah.
He hits this crazy dive out of the ring, sends Ethan Page into the first row. Ethan introduces a handful of chairs into the ring. Each man gets a couple chair shots in. Javon Evans hits this springboard Hurricane Rana, sends Ethan into the chairs. Javon introduces a table into the match. And then he sets up two chairs kind of facing each other.
Ooh.
And he's standing on them. And he's trying to hoist up Ethan. It looks like he might be going for a power bomb. Ethan kind of counters out of it. He gets Javon up in a fireman's carry position, smashes the back of his head off of the turnbuckle, sits him on top of the top rope, crosses his arms into like the straitjacket, and hurls it over his body through the table. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he picks him up immediately. But he doesn't lift him. He grabs him by the arms, uses his momentum up into a power slam through the table.
The first time was through the chairs. The second time was the table. You said table twice.
Oh, my bad.
First time was the two chairs. The second time was the table. Yeah.
Into the chairs and then the table.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah, that was nuts.
We come back from the break. Ethan hits the Ego's Edge. Javon kicks out, and they just start exchanging some blows, man. And Javon gets a huge right-hander in, which is perfectly timed because the commentary team was talking about how he said he was going to break Ethan's jaw.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just get some crazy moves from here on out. Javon Evans leaps over the ropes while Ethan is on the apron and hits a cutter through the table. They set up another table outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Man, Evans got the brunt of that, but that was a sexy move. That was crazy. Back inside. Javon goes back inside. He leaps over the ropes onto Ethan, onto the announce table. His airtime on this was insane. He got so high. Makes it look effortless to jump from the middle of the ring over the announce table. He hits a big splash from the top rope. Ego kicks it too. Javon wraps the chair around Ethan's head. He goes for the stomp. Ethan wiggles out, throws the chair at Javon. Ego goes for the twisted grin onto a chair. Javon counters into the RKO. Awesome callback.
Yeah.
Ethan kind of stumbles up with that chair still wrapped around his head. And Javon hits like the springboard Cody cutter. And that does it, man. This was crazy. I thought this was the match of the night.
Really?
Yes, I thought this was unreal. I love the intensity from the two of them.
So two things. One,
Yeah.
I got a message on something, so I looked down my phone and like hit Twitter because I wanted to see if there was anything on that.
Yep.
First thing I see is I don't know how well you know him, but Alexander Hammerstone
Not a ton.
posted this picture. Now, obviously, this could be like somebody going in for business for themselves, but he is a
Mhm.
free agent. And he
Yep.
posted this picture of him and Jacob face to
That
face.
too.
So he's somebody that could make a real impression in that world title division.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Yeah. Didn't he
Jack.
have a match on NXT
Yeah, I forget who it was
where
again.
he came
Oba.
out?
Oba. He had a match against Oba,
Yeah.
maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This match is interesting to me because I felt like it was a story of two different matches. I feel like that chair then table spot happened like right before the break.
Yeah.
I felt like for a street fight before that spot, I felt it was kind of boring.
It's just a brawl.
It was brawly. It was kind of slow. Not slow. Javon doesn't do anything slow, but like I was like, man, I'm not into this match at all. And then after that spot, they went to the commercial like a minute later, and then I feel like from the commercial on, it was like a whole different match,
It was nonstop after that.
nonstop. And then they really kicked in. I love when Javon slapped the living shit out of Ethan Page.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I thought it was a story of two matches because I was not into it at first.
Okay.
And
That's fair.
I kind of felt myself going like, like, yeah, I was not
Oh, man, I loved it.
into the beginning of this match at all. But like I said, right after that spot, then went to commercial, came back, and was like a
You couldn't blink after that.
whole different match, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. I will say Javon's great. He's young. I love the whole bouncy because he is. My boy gets some air. But I will say a lot of people give him his flowers. So let me say, as much as people love to give him shit, Ego has done everything he needs to do in NXT. He has been so good, and NXT has been so good for him. He's gonna do great on the main roster. He's a main roster wrestler. Like he fits there more than he does in NXT. So,
I hope he just doesn't get stuck doing something dumb like teaming with The Miz.
that's 100% what's gonna happen at
I
first.
I just feel like he's going to end up with The Miz. There's something about him that just makes those two
Miz,
a
Waller,
thing.
they're gonna be like they're
Oh,
gonna
my
form like
God.
the douchiest like faction in all of wrestling. It's gonna be
Oh,
like
man.
I don't know if you ever saw any of their stuff because it was so long ago. But before AEW in MLW, there was a team of Alexander Hammerstone, MJF, and that Richard Holloway dude. They were just the douchiest, like, fuckboy, like, trio. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
That's,
unfamiliar, but
yeah,
you say MGF and I can picture it.
yeah. That's exactly what that team would be, and it would be awesome. But yeah, so I mean, they both did great. I remember when the storyline started, and I was like, Javon Evans and Ego, like, I don't know, but they have been done so well for each other. And the story,
Yeah, I think it's been a great feud.
yeah, it's been a great feud. I'm interested to see where Evans goes next because, frankly, I think you keep him far away from Oba until he dethrones Oba. You don't put them anywhere near each other. Maybe Sean Spears? Have Sean
Maybe.
Spears be kind of like a transitional champion. It looks like Ego might be going to Ricky Saints. So maybe
Yeah.
do Spears and Javon Evans. Because I feel like this feud's probably over, right? Like,
Yes, I think so. I'm excited for next week to see where everyone goes from here on the way to Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, I feel like next week's really gonna put it into full gear of like this is what's happening for Stand and Deliver. These people are gonna be feuding with each other.
Yep.
So,
After the match, we did get something else. We got that I'm just gonna call him Retribution until they name him.
yeah,
But the four masked guys that keep crashing everything came out and
no, go ahead, finish. I'll say my.
they just beat the shit out of Javon Evans.
I'm glad you said Retribution because people keep saying like Shield 2.0. These guys are fools. Did you see how many times they like tripped over themselves?
Yes.
Oh my god.
At least twice, maybe 3 times.
One of the dudes like went to like bounce off the second rope and just completely ate shit.
Yep.
And then like two of them like ran into each other. This is not the Shield 2.0. This is Retribution 2.0. 1,000%.
It's like a shield if it was made out of fucking aluminum foil, maybe.
Timu Shield, you know? Like, Jesus Christ. I could not. I actually didn't have a problem with Retribution. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have an issue with it. I thought Retribution sucked because the fans made it suck. Like, I thought what they were working towards, I got it. I was like, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
And the fans ruined it. This thing I can't take seriously. Between them tripping over each other, running into each other, I'm like, dude, what is going on?
It just feels a little like tired too because Retribution did just happen. I think maybe if Retribution hadn't happened, I don't know. It just seems like such a blatant ripoff. I feel like they're trying it again.
The one thing they need is a leader. Like, there has to be somebody pulling their strings. Like, somebody that people know.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Ricky,
yep.
If they want to turn him heel. Somebody else coming in. Like, you know, the smart thing they did with Retribution was made Mustafa Ali the leader. Because that made sense. And it was like, oh, cool. Again,
and he could talk.
Right. They need to do that for this team because right now, I'm not buying it. And then we get a promo from.
Speaking of things we're not buying,
a vignette. So let me say this: I thought the vignette was shot really well. I love Spears.
I do too.
First off, the name.
I don't like it.
The name of this team is the most ridiculous. The Culling, Culling.
I don't like it.
There's nothing to like about it.
Sell on the name. I want to rename.
Yeah, rename. Obviously, I don't know much about the other guy in the group. Nobody does.
Nico Vance.
Yeah. Brooks does nothing. Jensen does nothing for me. And the girl, Izzy Dane?
Izzy Dane.
She's alright, but again, we haven't seen a lot of her. She's still young. This is really, really put on Sean Spears' back. They have a lot of faith in him right now because, the name's bad. The people in the group are not that good besides Spears. They just talk about how they do this ominous promo. They're like talking to Spears. They're sitting looking at Spears. He's looking at them. Yep. They talk about their 6-man tag. If they win that match, that's going to be the most ridiculous shit. No way they win that match.
I hope they do.
Stack should stack them, okay?
Not a chance. Nico Vance for the win.
God.
I hope it works out. I love Sean, but I just didn't like the name and I didn't like the promo.
I hate the name. I didn't mind the promo. I thought it shot really well. I liked those like ominous, like kind. It's not really supposed to be spooky, but he's like kind of like a cult leader. Like, I was into that. The name really, really took me out of it. I was like, who came up with that? What were they trying to do? Because they weren't trying to come up with a good name. That's not what they were doing. I literally put in my notes, the name is Yikes.
The name is Yikes.
But the video is filmed really well. We get Eddie's in the crowd, Eddie Thorpe. He says Trick doesn't know what he's getting into because he's the king of the underground. The crowd is just booing the shit out of him and going nuts. But that's good, though, because to me, he was getting no reaction before this feud. So,
right, none.
Nothing. So to hear the crowd react the way they did in that promo, I was like, well, something's working because he's getting a reaction. So Trick comes out and just beats the shit out this dude.
Oh, yeah, just storms down the steps.
Storms down the steps, beats him in the crowd, throws him into ringside, beats him ringside, beats him in the ring. Trick is all over this dude. They end up getting separated. Trick screaming at him. They have the underground match next week. I feel like Trick's coming to the main roster as a bad guy.
Sure seems like it.
Or they're going to do what they do with Braun and keep him here for another year and have him do a heel run in NXT.
Ooh. I mean, they still need his star power, so maybe.
Maybe. And I'd be fine with that. Like, he still has some...
He probably could use the ring time.
He could use it, yeah. The promo time, the ring time. Get him in there with Ricky. Get him in there with Javon Evans. Yeah, get him in there teaming up with Ego. Stuff like that. So then we get the main event. Stephanie, Vicor, and Julia. The NXT Women's and North American Championship match. They just look like megastars. Just from their entrance alone, they come out and you're like, holy shit.
Great music, great entrances. They have great looks. Julia's hair is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Something hit me as soon as this match started.
What's that?
Compared to each other, seeing them next to each other, boy, Julia does not wrestle a lot compared to Stephanie. I feel like Stephanie wrestles like almost every week. When was the last time we saw Julia wrestle? And I know she's supposedly, or there's some people saying she's injured, some people saying she's not injured. She's just kind of beat up a little bit. But boy, is there a big difference in how much these two wrestle.
Stephanie's been on TV almost every week since she started.
Yeah.
Julia, I feel like, has been in a lot of promos, which had me wondering right away if she was hurt. And then, we saw those rumors. So we'll see. We'll see if we see her the next couple weeks or not. I mean, obviously she was fine enough to wrestle, but...
Yeah, and I mean, the match was good. It started off really sloppy. But, they were smooth enough that, they turned the sloppiness into something. There was that part in the beginning where their legs got, tangled up, and then Stephanie grabbed her into, a knee bar, and, they just started... Yeah. There was a lot of that in the beginning of this match, which kind of surprised me because I feel like neither one of them are usually that sloppy, but the beginning of this match was really sloppy.
Yeah, I wonder if they had the big stage.
Maybe.
Yips.
Somebody did, because, it took them a minute to really get
I did notice that, and I was really surprised.
Yeah. Stephanie jumping off the top rope onto Julia on the floor.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. Excellent. That my next note is, Booker needs to check himself when Vicor does that move. I don't know if
that is also my next note.
I don't know if it has a name or not, but my dude be wild.
And the crowd started chanting his name after, which was even worse.
Did they? Because I wasn't sure if they were chanting Booker or NXT.
I think they were chanting Booker T.
I thought they were too, but then
because they were looking at the table.
Yeah. And I actually heard Stephanie talking about this. And apparently she's been trying to do that move for years, but couldn't figure out how to get it down. And it wasn't until she came to NXT and was with the trainers and stuff that they figured out for her how to actually pull it off. I mean, it's a move. It's a move, that's for sure. Julia hits the superplex. but couldn't take advantage of it. Hits a superplex, and they're both just out of it at this
Yep.
point. The matches started to pick up. They were both just beating the shit. They're both so physical.
And it was great 50-50. I feel like no one ever really dominated.
It,
As soon as one started to take, advantage, the other would jump back in.
yeah. It was really back and forth. They both were just, like you said, giving it to each other. They're both so physical. They came from different places, but both places are a lot alike. Mexico and Japan, where they're just so physical, so intense, so in each other's faces.
Yep.
And yeah, the match was real 50-50. It did pick up after the sloppiness and the slow start.
Yep.
And as we all expected, Vicor hits 2 super kicks and then hits her. Is it SVB?
Yep.
The
I think
SVB
so.
for the win. Stephanie wins, comes out double champ, which was awesome. Great for her. You feel bad for Julia, regardless if she's injured or what.
Yeah.
Really short, not great title reign. Hopefully,
And that happens with injuries. Sometimes you just get derailed.
yeah. Hopefully, whatever's going on, she can get fixed and get back to TV, get back in the ring, sooner rather than later. And let me tell you, I expect Stephanie to defend both, be in 2 matches as stand and deliver. You doing double duty, so
Open and close?
open and close, baby, open and close. Jordan Grace for 1 match, Zarya for the other.
Oh my god, could you imagine? I wonder if she fights oh no, it'll be Jada.
Probably, yeah. Probably be Jada for the North American and Jordan Grace for the world.
Yep.
Or reverse.
Or maybe Fallon Henley works her way into the North American. That way she can lose that without eating the pin. So she doesn't look weak in the title match.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, you know what? Maybe Jordan Grace goes for the North American so she can actually have a world title reign rather than just being a transitional champion. And then Jordan Grace is like North American champion or something like that.
Yeah, there's ways around it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the match was good. Slow start, but they really picked it up, and they really got at it, and it was a good finish. Good job for Stephanie. She's a megastar. Julia's gonna be a megastar. They're both gonna be incredible for a long time.
Hope Julia's not out for too long, man. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because she's so great, and like that's a bummer that she got injured and that ended up happening. But you just get back to it, get healthy, get back to it. I mean, she came in injured, if I remember correctly. Like she left Japan
Did she?
injured, yeah, and she'd wrestled a couple times for whatever that new promotion was. But I think she's been injured. So I think maybe even if she's not like injured anymore, she probably came back, still kind of came back a little early. So maybe this is just something that needed to happen. And hopefully she can heal up, get back in the ring, and get back to it. But she's great. Her presentation's great. Her promos are great. Her wrestling's great. So
good show, man.
Yeah, man, it was good. I love the TNA build with this. I love the TNA NXT collaboration. I think it makes the show so much better. It makes it so much more unpredictable, and it's something they really need to stick with. So, but yeah, man.
Yeah, I hope this is a long relationship.
Yeah. So that was NXT Roadblock, man. A good show. I enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. And, yeah, we're going to try to be more, as best as we can, consistent with doing NXT. I know there's people that's probably like, you guys don't do any AEW. And, like, we'll get there. We'll get there at some point. But, boy.
When they get there.
When they get there. Yeah, when they get there. We keep track.
When Colin, this is your fault.
100%. 100% your fault. Yeah. And, yeah, Nobody else is. That's what happens when we see Ray Phoenix, Rusev, Malachi Black all in WWE. It ain't our fault. It's not their fault. So, but anyways, yeah, good show. I enjoyed it. And we're definitely going to try to be more consistent with these NXT shows because NXT is great right now. It's unpredictable. You never know who's going to be on there. But give me Eddie Edwards. Man.
It'll happen.
Yeah, it will. It will. But all right, man, you got anything else to say about this show?
No, man, it was a great roadblock, but I'm ready for Sam to deliver. I'm ready to see how we get there.
Hell yeah. All right, man. So you will see us on Saturday morning for our SmackDown review. And then we'll probably have a different... We're going to try to do Raw on Monday night. Since it's on Netflix at 3 p.m. We're going to try to get the review in Monday. We'll see how it goes. No promises, but if we can, we'll get it done on Monday. So... All right, that's everything. So until tomorrow, Saturday, give us a like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see everybody then. Peace.